Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Champaign County Election Forums. My name is Tricia Crowley. I'm with the League of Women Voters of Champaign County, and on behalf of the League, the NAACP, the News-Gazette, and Illinois Public Media, I welcome you to tonight's forum. We're going to commence with this particular forum is for the Office of Treasurer of Champaign County. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are unfortunately not presenting this forum in person. Consequently, we are not accepting questions concurrently with the forum. But I urge you to submit your questions for next week's forum via email, phone, or directly from the form on our website. The League website is lwvchampaigncounty.org. Similar questions which have been submitted previously have been grouped together. So consequently, your question may not be asked in precisely the way you submitted it. And due to limited time, we may not be able to get to all of the submitted questions. This forum is being broadcast on the League's Facebook live stream and also by Illinois Public Media via their Facebook page. After the forum, it will be available on the League's YouTube channel and also being broadcast by UPTV. The UPTV schedule is available on the City of Urbana website. So the order for the candidates is alphabetical, and therefore Cassandra, let's see, I am Cassandra CJ Bishop, Democrat, will open, and Ted Meyer, Republican, will close. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement, then ask questions submitted prior to the forum, and candidates will have 1 minute each to answer these questions. And at the end, candidates will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. Candidates will kindly refrain from any negative attack on the other candidate and not mention the other by name, and speak only to what they plan to do if elected to office. So we begin with opening statements. Ms. Bishop, you begin.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. My name is Cassandra.
Oh, you know, right, I know, your name is not Bishop. I just finished one with Chandra Bishop, and I am completely confused. So I apologize, I really apologize. Cassandra Johnson, yes.
Good evening, my name is Cassandra Johnson, CJ, and I'm running for Champaign County Treasurer because I'm committed to service. Initially service to my country and now service to my community. I've had my heart set on serving the military since I was 5, because the idea of making our country better was something that I wanted to be a part of. As I was too young to join the military, I went to college for a year. And after a good bit of pressure, I got my parents to sign the paperwork to allow me to join the military at 17. During my service, I was able to travel all over the world, working as a linguist, weapons intelligence analyst, diplomat, and operations supervisor, and most important to this particular conversation, as a financial manager. My experiences with budgeting, reconciling, managing accounts, and other financial management operations at the federal level have prepared me to assume the responsibilities of the treasurer. But just as important, I made it a point to contribute to every community that I've had the fortune to be a part of, whether it be in the US or abroad, primarily with volunteer work and mentoring. After 22 years of service, almost 22 years of service, I decided to retire here in Champaign and relax. But then I saw the challenges in the treasurer's office, and seeing my community dealing with these challenges reignited the spirit to get involved and help as much as I could possibly can with my community, with improving my community's ability to thrive. I'm in the position right now to be able to give time, energy, and attention to helping community receive funds needed to serve our people with all areas funded by property taxes. Service, transparency, and accountability are the 3 pillars I'm running on because I plan to maintain them throughout my time in office. I offer them to my neighbors with assurance that I will not rest until I make sure that we get things done right and we move towards a system of continuity that will prevent the same challenges in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, your opening statement.
Sure. My name is Ted Meyer, and I too am running for the treasurer's office. It's important, I think, for you to get to know me and know that Champaign County is my home. And I grew up on a farm that had the silhouette of the Assembly Hall and the Memorial Stadium just rising up over the cornfields there behind our house. So this is where I'm from. I care and love this county, and this is it's very important to me to make sure that our county runs correctly. From this county, I went to the U.S. Army and served in the 82nd Airborne Division. And after the 82nd Airborne Division, I came home back to Champaign County and served in the Illinois National Guard right here out of Champaign in the 34th Red Bull Brigade. After that, I spent some time as a teacher and was up at Wheaton College as well as a technologist. I spent some time being an IT support guy, and then ended up coming back home again. My wife and I ended up adopting 4 children out of one family, and we could think of no better place to come than back home surrounded by our family and friends here at home. From there, I ended up working at the U of I at the University of Illinois, and as a business process analyst. I got certified there through the University of Illinois. And those who aren't familiar with business process analyst work, you might know that it's identifying problems and solving those problems. So in the past 2 years, I've come to understand the problems and challenges, but they're way more than challenges now, that have come out of the treasurer's office. And I see the skills that I have as a business analyst being a unique and amazing fit to solve the problems there. And as a technologist, as there are technology issues and people management issues as well. And I feel like my business administration background is going to help us very well there.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Johnson, can you tell us what the Treasurer's Office does and what are the qualifications someone needs to do that job?
Sure. Well, according to Illinois Constitution or whatever, there are actually requirements for accounting backgrounds to be a treasurer, but it definitely is one of the important skills that you should have in order to be in this office. The office collects funds and distributes funds to taxing bodies, but the treasurer's office has 2 roles. One is treasurer and one is collector. Treasurer depositing, investing, and distributing funds, and collector billing, collecting, investing, and distributing property taxes to taxing bodies in the county. Now, one of the major things that aren't actually listed in the duties of the treasurer is the requirement to interact with other county offices. And I feel like that's where some of the challenges have come about with the recent struggles in the office.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I think I understand the question. I want to clarify though, my name is Meyer, just like the Meyer store.
At least I'm an equal opportunity name screw up or so.
No worries.
I apologize to both of you.
Sure, yeah. My opponent hit it on the head. It is an office that deals with, exactly like she said, in taking in revenue and dispersing those tax funds to taxing districts, including drainage districts, school districts, townships and villages, and making sure those funds get out there in a timely manner. And so there's maybe 77,000 approximate taxing houses, taxpayers that pay into those revenue funds. So it's very important that this hub of cash flow is managed properly. And lately it has not been done that way. It should be invisible to the county if it's working appropriately and working like it's supposed to. And I plan to make it work that way, to make people forget my name so that it won't be in the news. Okay.
Mr. Meyer, the Treasurer's Office has experienced significant operational backlogs over the last 2 years. If elected, what challenges do you anticipate for getting that backlog fixed, and what is your plan to address this?
Sure, I have tons of experience in solving problems like this, where you have an issue of an office that has ongoing operations that need to continue operating while you're trying to solve some of the problems that are creating the backlog. just like a mechanic who has to work on a car while it's going down the road. My plan is definitely to keep that office operating and running at the capacity that it needs to in order to take in funds and to disperse those funds in a timely manner, but also address any problems that are coming up. That backlog is a serious issue, and it's going to take some time to recover, but we need to definitely address that while still maintaining operations.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes,
The
please.
Treasurer's Office has experienced significant operational backlogs over the last 2 years. If elected, what challenges do you anticipate for getting the backlog fixed, and what is your plan to address it?
So I would say the major challenges the challenge that I feel like I'll actually have to deal with more directly is identifying where the processes are broken. The Treasurer's Office has really 3 main things that they're supposed to be focused on: receiving funds, distributing funds, and then reconciling banking accounts. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to keep up with that because of turnover and because of new systems and any other sort of reasons. I feel like for me, because I do have a background in conflict resolution and I have been a mediator before, I do know what is necessary in order to address what the root cause of a problem is and then build on a strategic plan to improve it later on. While I realize that there will be a requirement, like my opponent said, to continue operations, I do feel that there needs to be a strategic plan to kind of figure out what needs to take precedence.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, what are your goals if elected, and how do you plan to achieve them?
So, of course, my main goal is to reconcile these books, because I do feel like we're working at a disadvantage without knowing really that all of the transactions that needed to be made have been made, and not having an accurate account of how much funds we actually have going into our different accounts. So those things, that's my main focus, is getting that reconciliation done with the help of the auditor. And aside from that, I do believe that there are other things that we can be doing as a treasurer's office that can help long-term for the community. Other communities that have continuous processes, as well as programs that actually help the community to prepare for the future of their children. And I do feel like those are things I would like to implement.
Mr. Meyer, what are your goals if elected, and how do you plan to achieve them?
Sure. The biggest goal is by far getting things reconciled, getting the books right, getting the budget right, because how can a county board actually operate, and how can an auditor's office stay on time and on target? How can our school districts actually provide funds in a timely manner if the books are not correct? So that's the very first priority. And in order to get that done, we're going to need to not only look at the books and get them straight, but we also need to work on the technology that's supplying those books and supplying that information. Because my understanding is that the technology is way behind as far as maybe even the people management part of it, and understanding and being educated in the system and applying the numbers in a timely manner. So getting far behind has been a big problem, and we're going to make that a big priority to get reconciled, get the books straight, so everybody can operate in a professional and timely manner.
All right, thank you. And if you were elected county treasurer, would you work at the office full-time?
Oh, is that to me?
Yes, Mr.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm a very busy guy. I have a lot of things going on in my life. You know, the fire department, the EMT. I'm a deacon in my church. I teach school right now, and I am part of the village board. I have a lot of balls in the air. If we had a football team, I would be the head coach of our football team this year too. However, as soon as I get elected, those people have an understanding that my focus is 100% on the treasurer's office. Those things need to fall away. Even my training officer responsibilities of the fire department will fall away. We already have a plan for that. And I'm going to put all my efforts into the treasurer's office. You'll see me at the front desk providing customer service, because that's something we've been lacking in the past 2 years, is the customer service, the front end where every taxpayer comes in that is going to be paying in person. They come in there and they see people, but lately that door's been closed and you can't even enter sometimes. So customer service is a priority.
Okay, and Ms. Johnson, would you work at the office full time?
Of course, ma'am. There's no question. Whenever I actually work in any type of job, I am usually given 200% because I am dedicated to ensuring that my word is my bond. I am going to make this office operate effectively, efficiently, and probably like blood, sweat, and tears make it happen, because that's the kind of person that I am. As far as like my doctoral program, realistically, the skills that I'm learning through that program actually is helping to give me an idea of how I can appropriately manage this office and make sure that we're not making rash decisions and doing things that can actually help not just my office, but the other countywides as well.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Johnson, can you describe your experiences which qualify you to be treasurer?
Sure. So I began actually working as a secondary duty, collateral duty, as a assistant to a financial manager in about 2003. And basically I had to quickly learn how to manage accounts for an organization because they wanted this individual to be able to take vacation. I've always been good at numbers, so it just kind of worked out for me. Subsequent to that, I've worked in 3 or 4 other organizations where I've actually managed construction, managed building projects, managed acquisitions, and all types of other different services related to federal funding. And aside from that, while I was in Southeast Asia, I was required to reconcile and a very significant amount of transactions because there were 5 years of reconciliation that hadn't been done prior to me getting there. So I'm very comfortable with anything to do with finances.
Okay, Mr. Meyer, could you describe your experiences which qualify you to be treasurer?
Sure. The big 3 that I stick to are the business administration part, the technology part, and the business analyst part, which is slightly different than the business administration. When I think business administration, I've been in charge of semi-medium organizations that some of them have dealt with in millions of dollars worth of inventory and items. I've done budgeting. I've been the executive director of committees where I have to be responsible for those budgets and the people that are operating some of those budgets. In the village board, I'm also the signature audit for the records for the bank records as well. As a technologist, I think that's going to be very important for me to make changes and look forward to the problem solving that it'll take to get the technology implemented in the office. And then the business process administration part, business process analyst part, will help me solve problems within the office and find specific solutions, including all those stakeholders. Every hub, every department that touches our office will be important to include in the solution.
Okay, thank you. We actually come to the end of the, except for one more question, which I have, so we might end a little early. But my last question, and then after that will be closing statements. Last question, what else do you want voters to know about you? Mr. Meyer.
Oh, sure. So as far as the thing that's most important to me, as far as getting to know me and knowing me, I'm a hard worker. I like to do a lot of things. It doesn't matter the hours that it takes. Like I just stayed after school to prepare the next day's work. I stayed after school quite a while, and then I went on to my next meeting, and then I came to this meeting. So I'm used to working long hours, and our house is going to be an empty nest soon. So I'm looking forward to investing more time into the job that's ahead. So I'm interested in getting stuff done. So please hire Meyer.
Okay, Ms. Johnson.
That's a good way to remember my name too, by the way.
What else do you want the voters to know about you?
So I guess more than anything else, I'm a person who takes care of people. And with me in this position, again, I adapt quickly. Being in the military, having to change jobs every 2 years, you have to hit the ground running and be able to get in, fix it, make it work, and get out. So at the end of the day, that's what makes me a good candidate for this position. Aside from that, my focus in organizational change and leadership is exactly what is needed in this office. Because unfortunately, the reality is that the changes of the new system and of the turnover of individuals has been what's plagued this office more so than anything else. Aside from that, continuity is my middle name. I feel like if you're actually in an office and you leave and that office fails because you left, you're the problem. You should be finding systems to make sure that this office can survive whether you're there or not.
Okay, so now we have closing statements, and Ms. Johnson, you go first.
So first off, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters of Champaign and the NAACP, the News-Gazette, and Illinois Public Media for actually having this forum and allowing us to answer the public's questions with regard to the Treasurer's Office. At the end of the day, I am a person who's dedicated to making things happen. While yes, there are definitely challenges in this office, and I feel like they are mostly because of the processes not being where they need to be. I am 100% sure that I will be able to get into this office, and when you elect me, I'll be able to basically turn it around to where, like my opponent said, you won't even know my name. Though I admittedly feel like my transparency kind of forces me to kind of be out there, so you'll be hearing from me regardless. If you want to know more about me, please visit my website, electcj.com. And in this pandemic times, I'll say spread CJ, not COVID.
Okay, Mr. Meyer.
All right, thank you. Thank you again to our sponsors. I appreciate everything you do to get our information out there to the voters. That's so amazing, because usually the Treasurer's Office is overlooked. And so I want to encourage voters during this election to not overlook our offices, the offices like Treasurer and Auditor and Coroner. It's important to investigate who those people are and use forums like this to determine who's the most qualified candidate. And of course, from my perspective, I am the most qualified candidate in this election for Treasurer's Office. I've worked in both public and private sector. I've been in the military, and I know what it's like to be a leader, just like CJ. And I know what it's like to manage funds and from a perspective of the public side and from the private side. I know what it's like to change and improve a company. And I want to make sure that the voters know that those qualifications are what's needed to fix this office, especially the qualifications of being an administrator of an organization this size, and of being a technologist to be able to make changes to the system and to problem solve and to get things done. And then additionally, to be that business analyst to analyze the processes that are going on. Our current office has been basically a dumpster fire. And I hate to say that because there are people involved and they're wonderful people, but they're having such a terrible time. It began 2 years ago, and that's when it caught my attention. And I wanted to make sure that the right person gets this job. And I think this firefighter is ready to put out that fire, but it's going to take those skills, those business skills that I have, those business skills that I've practiced and put into practice to improve organizations, the leadership skills and the people management skills in coaching people and training them up to be a part of an organization that leads through excellence and professionalism, and not the way it's been for the past 2 years. So be sure to vote and hire Meyer, and I get stuff done. Thank you.
Okay, and I want to thank both of the candidates for coming to the forum, and to apologize for mangling both your names.
No worries.
At this point, I want to thank again the League of Women Voters, the NAACP, the News-Gazette, and Illinois Public Media for sponsoring the forum, and to our timers, Peggy Patton and Todd Kinney, who have kept us on schedule. And a very special thanks to Jonathan Behrens, who has put this series of forums together. Just a reminder, it's not too late to register to vote. Information is available on the League website and the County Clerk's website, so please register and vote. And we will be sponsoring forums for 3 more days next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so you can visit the League website to see which races are scheduled on which evening. So please join us then. Thank you. Good night.